Hi, and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this reading, I'm going to be looking at your next big romance. Who's coming in for you? What are some of their qualities and characteristics? And any of the details that come up as far as timing, so you can help to kind of be on the lookout for this person and to better identify them when they come in. There are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Caribbean Calcite heart. Group 2 is the red glass heart. And group 3 is the Rhodochrosite heart. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Caribbean Calcite heart. So I'm going to start with some tarot to get a general overview of your next big romance, who's coming in, anything as far as timing, and then I'll clarify with some oracle cards. Okay, we've got Judgment, 9 of Pentacles, the Hanged Man, the Moon, 10 of Cups, Knight of Swords, 2 of Pentacles, and 6 of Wands. So real quick, in terms of signs, we've got Scorpio energy with Judgment. Pentacles is Earth, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. The Hanged Man is Pisces. The Moon is Pisces and Cancer. With the Cups, we've got Water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Swords is Air, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And with the Wands, we've got Fire, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So a little bit of everybody here, but water signs are definitely factoring in very strongly here with these three major arcana. This can also really tie into a deep empathic bond that you and this individual will have. This may definitely, with the kind of reference to Judgment, this can be a deeper level of intimacy than you thought was possible in a connection with another person. Maybe somebody who is so deeply in touch with their own emotions, is comfortable expressing these things, maybe the love language that they have. More than just kind of the basic words of I love you, but somebody who really discusses thoughts and feelings, who holds space and honors your thoughts and feelings. This can be something that is very different from what you've been used to in love up to this point in time. This person may be, again, very kind of emotional in nature, very empathic in nature, an empathic bond that the two of you share. This person may even resonate as an empath, consider themselves that. We don't have the 9 of Wands out here, but I am hearing the word wounded warrior as well as wounded healer. So this person may definitely work in some kind of healing or counseling profession. This could be somebody who has gone through self-help or counseling to try and come to terms with maybe some emotional difficulties they had in the past, things to do with their upbringing, with their childhood. Somebody who's a seeker, kind of a truth seeker with the Knight of Swords here. Somebody who has really been on an exploratory journey. This may even be kind of the nature of how the two of you intersect with one another, some kind of shared community that revolves around kind of wellness, well-being. Ascension is even coming through with this Judgment card here, or this is somebody who has really endeavored to get to know themselves. A lot of deep self-exploration that has taken place prior to the two of you encountering one another, to where the energy they are in when the two of you meet, they're very confident in who they are, a very independent person. This can also speak about somebody professionally who may own their own business. They may be independently wealthy. This could be somebody that really came from some humble beginnings. They have turned some kind of a dream career, dream job into a reality. It may be still in kind of the stages of being built, but they are very close to reaching their goal when you interact with one another, when you meet one another. This can also be an element of some kind of business that you are working toward, where you've achieved a degree of success, a degree of stability, but haven't quite yet found that horizon that you are looking for. There's still more that you are striving for, but whatever mechanisms you've put in place, whatever kind of structure, it's very sound, it's very solid, very stable. This person may in some way be a consultant, somebody who you either seek out for advice, for help, maybe some kind of a service that they provide, something even of like a technical nature. Tech support is coming through as well to help you kind of diversify your business, expand your business in some manner. This can be somebody who, is kind of a teacher and educator. So you may meet this person while attending a class to increase certification, maybe working toward a degree, something to do with a particular specialty. Or this can be somebody that just in kind of the course of the relationship with one another, they have a lot of sound advice to give you that really helps you to view your professional life and the goals that you've been reaching towards from a different angle. Kind of an unexpected approach with the Hanged Man as well, that helps you really fast track to almost reach some sort of destination professionally that you have been seeking. Again, this is either the nature of this person's role, this is how kind of the role that they fill in your life initially, and then things develop into the area of romance. So again, some kind of consultant, somebody you're working with, somebody that you seek out for their professional services, and kind of one thing leads to another. You get to talking, the relationship is established in some way. Maybe this is somebody you have kind of dealings with over a period of time professionally, and then it kind of evolves into more of a personal relationship. Or this can be something where, independent of that, this person in general just has a very good, almost like a business sense. This can be somebody who is very good at investments, very good at kind of seeing and seizing opportunity and potential, and the actualization of potential. This isn't just kind of a wishful thinking kind of person. This is somebody who is very proactive in their nature, and who, in the course of your romantic connection, they have a lot to offer you as far as advice. Maybe you're even just venting about your day. Difficulties that you could have with coworkers or in reaching some kind of professional goal, pressure that you are feeling, maybe even kind of walls or obstacles that you have encountered. And this person, through kind of, it feels as an element of that deep sort of empathic part of them, this deep kind of sensitivity, this intuitive knowing. They may be quite psychic as well, that they are almost able to kind of direct you toward the most equitable solution, toward, something that will create a happy balance for everybody involved. They help you as well to kind of recognize and to capitalize on some untapped potential within you, some talents that you might not be utilizing very well, not utilizing them to the fullest of your capacity, something you've overlooked about yourself that may in some way, through that encouragement, through almost the loving energy that they infuse you with, that helps to build your confidence in some way that branches out beyond the realm of romance, and you can utilize this to pursue some professional goals. And in some way changes or improves the way you are moving through the world, the opportunities that magnetize towards you. This, again, somebody who's very adept at kind of conflict resolution. This may be something that they do professionally in some manner. This can also be somebody who's a first responder. And so part of that training is almost taking this view of sort of neutrality, taking into account all of the kind of circumstances and details that are presented, and in sort of a non-biased, but almost like a factual or a logical manner, coming to kind of these reasonable conclusions about things. This can be something then that, through that skill or ability that they have, just in how you are, again, kind of talking about your day, goals that you have, dreams that you have, maybe even obstacles or battles that you've been fighting or that you felt your hands are really tied about. This person is an active listener, and through kind of that element of whatever they may do professionally, and again, this kind of psychic or empathic, deeply emotional aspect of themselves, they are able to kind of feel their way through to solutions. To be able to give you sound advice. Somebody who may be very direct in their manner of communication as well. This is not necessarily somebody who fills a void with empty words, but again, like an active listener. The words that they say have impact and meaning. A lot of meaningful conversations that you have, which is really, it leans into that element of somebody that may have something to do with your business or profession. It doesn't necessarily feel like a coworker. It feels like somebody that might work almost in an alternative field than you, and you seek them out, or they come to you for something professionally. And it's almost like these subtle qualities of whatever they do for a living, the nature of what they do, it in some way helps to enhance whatever it is that you do for a living. And again, something that starts off as kind of a relationship of, somebody being a consultant, somebody providing a service, somebody even who is a merchant of goods that you need to utilize for yourself professionally. Maybe this is a distributor, some kind of, some person involved with some capacity of retail. This can even be somebody that owns or works at the restaurant, or is the chef at the restaurant where you have lunch every day, that's near your office, for example. It could be, they own the little coffee shop where you're stopping in to get your lattes in the morning. And, it's that kind of a capacity of a dynamic. Something that they do is directly involved, yet unrelated to what you do professionally. And that kind of that professional dynamic then evolves into this realm of romance between the two of you. After kind of a period of, there's almost a consistency with this, a regularity with this. This person is a familiar face in your world in some capacity. Either they have been for some time, you've known this person kind of in passing for a while before things really develop into that area of romance, or this is somebody that you'll have dealings with over a period of time, like the duration indication of if it's a class you're taking, it's like a semester long dealing with this person a couple times a week. After that semester's done, after that kind of course or training is done, the relationship continues from there between you and this individual. It then kind of branches out into these other areas, this more personal aspect of things, a professional relationship that then blossoms into these emotional components. This can also be somebody with the Hanged Man that is a kind of like, this is not among sort of the usual suspects of who you are dealing with romantically. And that's kind of an odd phrase. So in some way that may resonate with you, that may mean something very significant. Again, this person could be a first responder. They could be in law enforcement. I'm also reminded of that movie, The Usual Suspects. So maybe something to do with movies or film is significant here. This can also be somebody, I think that movie came out in like the earlier mid 1990s. So that can be relevant as far as the age of this person. If you are kind of younger, then this person could be, slightly older than you. That can be this element with the Hanged Man here of kind of that unexpected person, not the usual type you are gravitating toward. Not exactly a wild card energy, but just somebody that, again, might have been in sort of, or for a period of time is almost in the background, or they function in a different kind of role in your world, in your reality, before this element of kind of romance develops. It doesn't necessarily feel that it's like a friendship that you have with this person prior, but it almost feels that you know them in a certain kind of like limited business capacity. There's a certain function that is performed. And after a period of time of that occurring, they almost take their chance, they shoot their shot, they ask you out. And it feels to be a very unexpected kind of bond that develops between the two of you. What is revealed in kind of those romantic layers and aspects of this person, it's not as extreme as a pleasant surprise, but it's something that's different. It's definitely a different layer of them than whatever that kind of first impression it is that they give. Maybe based on kind of the nature of that dynamic and what they do for a living. There's a certain decorum that is required, a certain almost neutrality that is required based on kind of that professional dynamic, or again, their profession in general. So when you get them kind of in that alone time, in that personal time, then they open up about this kind of deeply emotional aspect of themselves, this psychic aspect of themselves, somebody with really good instinct, really good intuition, perhaps even psychic abilities that aid them in some way in the capacity of their job, but that it's not necessarily something that they talk about in the workplace. So it's just almost like a hidden aspect of this individual that prior to kind of opening up to that realm of romance, you would have never had the idea that this person, had those kind of abilities, had that kind of interest, had that kind of knowledge base, or, kind of these sort of little niche aspects about themselves. And so it can definitely be something that it feels like an element of tenderness about them that from all appearances, this kind of independent, self-assured, confident, very kind of successful, maybe even materially focused persona that they present in a larger way. Maybe a lot of people that look up to them, they have a lot of responsibility. They have I'm hearing a sense of duty. So it's duty and obligation to uphold something. They've taken an oath in some manner to defend and protect. So again, kind of first responder or even law enforcement, somebody in the military with a military background, all of these factors can really apply here. And then it's something that kind of on a personal level, once you get to know them outside of, I'm hearing the uniform that they're wearing. So definitely something where there's, maybe even like a civil servant in some way is kind of what they do for a living in a various capacity, like an EMT even, or a firefighter, somebody who's just got to be very looking at the problem at hand and kind of solving that, leaving emotions to the side in order to get the job done. But then on this personal time and this personal level, there's this whole other emotional aspect of this individual that is quite surprising. It's very sweet. It's very endearing, and it's somebody with a lot of deeply intense emotions. But it feels like at the point in their life that they are at, they may have really struggled with sort of understanding their own emotions, keeping these emotions in check. Somebody who might even have like a moon placement in Pisces, somebody who, they're very sensitive, almost getting kind of like deeply wounded in certain ways by, harsh environments or, senses of betrayal or feelings of being misunderstood. And it may have taken them some time. That might be why they've kind of leaned into self-help or counseling even to really understand this nature of who they are and to be able to create some kind of balance or coping mechanisms in order to kind of compensate from that, so they don't kind of move through life in this energy of being kind of perpetually wounded. So I'm going to get some oracle cards to get a little more clarification about this for you. Okay, we've got Gentleman and Union. So this idea of union can definitely talk about somebody that this is a long-term partnership between the two of you. It could possibly even result in marriage in the future with this Ten of Cups here. Somebody who has worked very hard to come into this place, again, of kind of balancing out a very psychic, empathic, emotional part of themselves, utilizing that to their advantage to navigate through opportunity and create stability in some way for themselves in the material world. Earlier in their life and kind of at different stages of their life, they may have been easily carried away by their emotions. Somebody who may have really worn their heart on their sleeve and been kind of hurt or taken advantage of in love, and so they've had to kind of establish some boundaries, a bit of distance. Maybe even what they do professionally has helped with that on a personal level, and so at the time when you meet them, they are again operating in this energy of kind of confidence and responsibility. They have a lot of their life together in a very successful and productive manner. They've created routine for themselves that works. It really fits their personality. It really fits their kind of needs and requirements. This is somebody who's very kind of stable and confident in themselves, and that's the energy that they present to you. It feels that they will be the one to kind of make this first move to transition the situation beyond whatever that initial kind of dynamic is of how the two of you meet one another, and it comes through that place of confidence. Gentlemen can speak about somebody with some very good manners, somebody who's a very proper person. It also brings to mind that idea of a uniform or some kind of kind of official dress that they wear, position and status within a company, within a community, a certain, again, decorum that they need to maintain, that, it's a part of them, this kind of emotional, psychic, empathic part of them. You get to discover that behind closed doors, outside of whatever this kind of persona is that they need to present. This could be somebody that is somewhat old-fashioned in terms of they're really going to want to, take things slowly, court you, date you. It doesn't necessarily feel that this is starts as an online connection. There may be some components of that with the Knight of Swords, kind of that virtual communication. This feels like somebody in your 3D reality. You're dealing with them face to face. Again, there's this element of some way that you are dealing with them or that you start to become familiar with them that is the prelude to this romance. And so because of the nature of that dynamic, and this element of gentleman, this person, again, has this sense of kind of duty and obligation to not allow personal feelings to interfere with kind of the nature of the work that needs to be done. If this is somebody who's a teacher or professor, somebody who has even come to you for help or counseling or advice or some kind of service, they're going to want to make sure that that kind of contractual obligation comes to a completion without any kind of note of scandal, without any kind of a suggestion of nepotism or favoritism, that it's again, this idea of kind of duty or oath bound. Once that function has been complete, then this person kind of takes that move, chooses to act, to kind of extend the connection, extend the relationship, but in a personal level. This can be something also that's coming through with somebody who in some way has a professional connection with you, and there may be this period where they almost kind of make up excuses to kind of see you professionally. If it's something where you are the problem solver for them, you're providing a good or a service to them that in some way is relevant to what they do for a profession, then it's almost like they'll come up with reasons to visit you, more questions that they have, something else they need you to work on, a lot of minutia that they get into, and then at a certain point when they've exhausted all possible excuses, it feels that it'll become pretty obvious at a certain point that they're just making up reasons to interact with you. They're making up reasons to kind of be in your physical presence, and kind of once that's all been exhausted, then this person has no choice but to kind of cut to the chase and sort of open the door or give that invitation to taking you out on a date, getting together for lunch, getting together for coffee, inviting you to some kind of a function, some kind of a community gathering, something, information that they give you, like a recommendation for something, a movie or a concert or some kind of an event that piques your interest, and they kind of invite themselves along or suggest the two of you go to this together. But it's something that it's not, there's an element of being like very civil about this, is the best word that is coming to mind. So again, this could be some kind of civic function, somebody who's a civil servant in some manner, somebody who, they give this element of respect at all times. Somebody who, again, is not filling the void with kind of needless words, but is very to the point in what they say, very matter of fact in what they say. There's, not an energy of awkwardness or discomfort, other than it almost might make you kind of blush or smile when you get to the point of realizing this person is kind of coming up with excuses to talk to you, excuses to be near you, excuses to kind of like see you again. And then it's once that has kind of run the gamut, then they are kind of forced to sort of take things to the next level, but something that will evolve at a very progressive pace. This can be somebody who, believes in traditional marriage, is going to want to, take things slowly in a very kind of methodical manner. It's kind of a checklist of things, like certain steps that need to happen, as they are kind of opening up to the deeper layers of the connection. And definitely, again, somebody who, when they are opening up those lines of romance with you, this is somebody with the idea of gentleman and union, that they see long-term potential in this situation. They see the potential of marriage in this situation, wanting to make you feel very seen and appreciated. Somebody who does not want to put pressure on, but wants to kind of build things gradually in a way that is very reciprocal and mutual. So I'm going to get a few of these Zodiac cards to get, this can be potential Zodiac signs in their chart, although we had a little bit of everything coming out here in the tarot, but this can also relate to timing as far as when this individual will show up in your world, or if they are somebody that this is kind of resonating, you already have an indication of who this is. This can tie into kind of when they will make that move to open up to romance with you. Okay, we've got eclipse in Taurus, reevaluation, a change of heart. Eclipse in Aquarius, awakening, your deeper resolve rises. And moon in Taurus, self-esteem, personal growth. So this feels like very imminent energy, and this is a timeless reading, so whenever you are watching this, just take the messages as they resonate. But at the time that I'm recording this reading on January 11th, 2023. We are kind of right at the end of Capricorn season and about to go into Aquarius season. So this could be somebody who, if they're in your reality already in some capacity, they could be getting ready to make that move pretty quickly. They may also be showing up again in that kind of initial phase or stage very quickly, on or around Aquarius season. This can also tie into somebody who, with that idea of gentleman, they may be making a move around Valentine's Day, something very sweet, some kind of romantic gesture, inviting you out somewhere, you know, being your Valentine's date, for example. Taurus is also obviously coming through strongly here twice with both of these cards. And then we've also got the heart here on this eclipse in Taurus. So kind of a confirmation of that sort of Valentine's energy, that romantic energy. So this can even be somebody that sort of shows up in the reality around Aquarius season in the next couple of weeks to month, for example, and sort of as that initial kind of phase of the dynamic of how the two of you are relating to one another, it may then open up into that realm of romance around Taurus season, which is April and May. So, you know, a couple months there of sort of dealing with them, you know, serving some kind of function, or they serve some kind of function within your kind of professional life, for example, or just in kind of how you're dealing with them. And it takes this time to build up into that realm of romance. And interestingly, we both have these two eclipse cards here. And so it's reminding me of, and I'll link this in the description box of the video under the timestamp, but it's that song from the 80s, Total Eclipse of the Heart. And she says, turn around. And so it almost feels, and then obviously more lyrics than that, but the words turn around are really sticking out very strongly at this point in time from that song. And it's really tying into this idea of, again, somebody who's in some way in your life, in your reality, but that initial phase of them being in your life, you're not thinking of this as romance. This is not somebody that you're meeting on the dating app. This is not somebody who, you know, very immediately is asking you out. And they're almost, you know, it kind of runs its course, whatever that sort of professional interaction is, and you're getting ready to kind of go your separate ways. And it's almost like they have run out of excuses. They have to sort of take that leap and express these feelings and almost get you to turn around before you leave their life forever. So it's that kind of an energy there. And this can also be something, you know, with this idea, this double idea of eclipse here, that something about this person, specifically in the nature of how they relate to their emotions or, you know, respond to you emotionally, are very much in touch with their emotions. If you've been dealing with kind of emotionally avoidant people in the past, this is the opposite of that. This person eclipses all others. In some way, this might even be somebody who you know, takes the trophy for who you consider the love of your life. If you had another candidate that you had thought of as the most kind of significant person, the person that, you know, is your ideal sort of, I'm hearing candidate, so your ideal kind of a candidate for a match, for a mate. This person, in a very kind of unexpected and profound way, eclipses all of that. Whatever that kind of vision board had looked like, whatever that checklist was of these qualities and characteristics, this person is above and beyond all of these things. They represent a very big romance in your life, a very significant romance in your life as well. So I'm going to get a few of these attribute cards, and there's a little bit of everything in here. There's personality traits. There can be professional things that they do, physical characteristics, zodiac signs. Okay, so we've got culture. So somebody who might be from a different culture than you, somebody who might be bilingual as well, somebody who could like to travel, like to, the kind of traveler who isn't necessarily going to go to, you know, the fancy resort, but they're going to want to immerse themselves in other cultures. They're going to want to, you know, get down to the grassroots level, mingle with the people, go to kind of community functions, spiritual functions, festivals. That's kind of the nature of their interest. Definitely a people person here. And we've got green eyes as a physical characteristic. Law enforcement. Okay, so that was coming through so strongly, that idea of a police officer. That can even relate to kind of an EMT. I'm also hearing hostage negotiators, so that could be a relevant thing that they do. That's also kind of tying in for me with sort of like a lawyer, for example, an attorney or a judge can be kind of relevant to that. Somebody who is really good at conflict resolution. And we've got the letter B. Freckles. Shy. So somebody who, again, is going to kind of put that stoic exterior on. They're not going to let that gooey center be known right away. It definitely takes moving beyond the capacity of how you initially kind of connect with this individual before they kind of make their feelings and that very emotional side of themselves known. And we have trade, so that can be somebody in finance, somebody who is good at investments, kind of a day trader. This can also be somebody with a particular skill or ability, somebody who you meet in trade school, somebody who teaches courses in a trade school or themselves has gotten some kind of a degree in a trade. That can also be that confirmation of how you meet them in a very specific manner. It's a contractual obligation first and foremost. Somebody who is providing some kind of a service or some kind of a good, and kind of at the duration of that relationship, it's all business. But then at the conclusion of that is when they almost take that leap of faith. Before you walk out of their life forever, they're like, turn around, wait, I want to take you out on a date. And we've got facial hair, so they could have sideburns, mustache, goatee, beard, some combination of all these things. They could do different things with their facial hair at different times of the year, kind of the idea of somebody with a winter beard and then they're clean shaven in the warmer months. And we've got summer, so that could be a name as a confirmation, or this can tie into, when you meet this person, maybe kind of they're asking you out to some kind of a summer concert, for example. And we've got genuine, so a very honest person, a very direct person, somebody who's very down to earth. And we've got counselors, so that was also coming out. That ties into that idea of hostage negotiator as well. Somebody who's really good at conflict resolution, problem solving, somebody who may have gone to counseling or therapy or has even explored self-help for different things in their life, or this may be something that they do professionally. And we've got wavy hair. Well-dressed, so that ties into that element of some kind of uniform that they wear, something very specific that identifies their particular professional function, and it fills it even outside of that capacity, outside of the realms of profession, outside of the office. This is somebody who is very well-groomed, very conscientious of their appearance, the kind of person that even looks good in sweatpants and a t-shirt. And we have Cancer as a zodiac sign. This can also tie into that summer energy or the months of June and July. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got R, G, L, H, P, and A. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I have also started a second channel here on YouTube. It is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that, as well as in the featured channel section of my page. The format is a little different over there. I do pick-a-cards as well as general kind of energy check-ins, and the topics that I cover are about spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting or intriguing, I invite you to check out that page, and I thank you for your support of that channel, as it is obviously newly formed and growing very organically from the ground up. Thank you for your continued support here on this channel as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 2. You chose the red glass heart. So I'm going to start with some tarot to get kind of an introduction about your next big romance, who's coming in, anything as far as timing, qualities and characteristics of this individual, and then I'll clarify with some oracle cards. Okay, we've got the Sun, Queen of Wands, Page of Wands, Four of Wands, Nine of Swords, Queen of Pentacles, Six of Cups, and the High Priestess. So real quick, in terms of signs with the sun, we've got Leo. With the wands, we've got fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Swords is air, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Pentacles is earth, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Cups is water, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And the High Priestess is also Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. So a little bit of everyone out here, but definitely fire factoring in very strongly, specifically Leo energy. So this can relate to somebody that you meet during Leo season. The connection, the romance kind of builds in momentum, and there's this, I'm hearing crescendo in the summer, so a very intense summertime romance between you and this individual. This might be a situation that, I mean, the Four of Wands is here, so this is possible that this could turn into something very long-term, but it might be something where kind of the initial phase of this connection, it burns hot and heavy, and then it sort of fizzles out, and the two of you go your separate ways. And it feels like kind of in the grand scheme of this this big romance, there might be this introductory period, a lot of intensity, a lot of passion between you and this individual. Things come to a close. You both go in your separate directions. This might even be somebody that you meet while on vacation. And so it's a very almost like a temporary romance. And then in that kind of aftermath of the two of you going your separate ways, they're filled with this sense of anxiety. They can't get you off of their mind. And it's something where they almost go to extreme lengths to find you. They invest a lot of time and effort in kind of finding your contact information, reaching out to you. If this is something where distance is a factor, then kind of the anxiety of that feeling of, the two of you almost parting ways for a period of time, that kind of distance, that closure, that end of the situation. It doesn't even feel to be anything. It might be very disappointing and heartbreaking, but it doesn't feel to be anything where it's like a fight, or some situation of somebody running from the other. It just feels that just for practicality's sake, the nature of this, maybe it's somebody that you meet while if you're a student, you meet them while you're home for summer vacation, and then you both go back to your own universities, or this person is vacationing somewhere, and then they have to go back to their reality. And I'm hearing another song that I'll link in the description box of the video for this. It's a song from, I want to say it was from the very early 1990s. Back to life, back to reality. And so that definitely feels to be kind of a theme of this initial sort of stage of this very big romance. But in that kind of, back to reality energy, they can't stop thinking about you. And so there's almost a second act in this situation. There is a reconciliation. They find a way to make this work. They reach out to you. They seek you out. And from there, it's something that, kind of has this potential to, the sky's the limit. This High Priestess, it feels very much like you're not supposed to know what happens. That it's endless potential. It's kind of where the two of you want to take things. It's really kind of up in the air as far as what happens. But these are very positive and empowering energies overall in this. The only kind of negative or almost like a difficult card is this element of the Nine of Swords, a lot of anxiety and sleepless nights. Again, not being able to get you off of their mind, longing to see you again, this feeling of sorrow that the two of you had to part ways. And the word had to, or the phrase had to, feels very significant here. That again, it's not like a fight or any sort of disagreement. It's something that just based on the nature of how the two of you really find each other, I'm hearing really discover each other, that kind of wraps up, that comes to its conclusion. You both have to go your separate ways, but that's not the end of the story. It's almost that there's a fresh beginning. There's an opportunity to then experience one another, experience a romance with one another in more of a solid and stable situation, and more of your own kind of like natural environment in sort of a different setting from what this very kind of dreamy and passionate, this summertime energy of the fire and the wands here. That then there's kind of, it's the idea of almost somebody who goes on to a resort in a tropical place, and then they're returning to life in a big city somewhere. So it's these two different kind of like versions or layers, almost like the sequel takes place then between the two of you, but in a different environment, in a different climate. Maybe you travel to where this person lives. Distance may definitely be a factor here. They could live somewhere that's very warm, somewhere in the southern hemisphere, something in a tropical climate. And then you're returning to, maybe more of the North Country. Again, kind of like an urban area, a city, something that's a little more landlocked. Islands can be very significant as well, with this idea of kind of this warm and sort of a resort energy, a summertime energy. And then this person, kind of comes to your world. They come to that kind of urban setting, that kind of, the hustle and bustle of all of that. And that's the second kind of chapter or phase in the development of this connection. But then again, kind of where it goes from there, it's almost the idea of people who are from two different worlds. So that might be this element with the high priestess, is that it's really going to require both of you soul searching, both of you seeking within, and kind of exploring that, checking in with one another at various points in time as far as where do we want to take this? What is even possible in this circumstance? There can be distinct kind of cultural differences here, or again, just it feels like a very solid life that each of you has established for yourselves in these two very different kind of worlds or places. And so it's almost, there's an element of sacrifice that is required in some way in order to carry out this romance into like a long-term love, which I feel is why there is that potential that this can be something very long-lasting, but there's also that element of, not necessarily either person wanting to fully have to leave a life that they have created, some kind of stability, something that is known and familiar, completely behind in the interest of kind of following that passion. So that might be something that is kind of a wedge or a barrier or a point, like a crossroads, a decision point that will be faced in this circumstance. The Four of Wands can also talk about somebody that you meet at a wedding, maybe at a destination wedding. They are either attending or they function as some kind of role, like a groomsman or a bridesmaid, or an usher, somebody that has to do with kind of like the catering or the music. This can even be somebody that sort of works at maybe the accommodations, the lodging that you are staying at. This can be somebody that just kind of lives in that town, in that place, wherever that destination wedding is. So it's a very kind of like a small window of time that sparks fly, that the two of you meet one another, that you're not looking for love. You're not going there expecting to meet someone. And it really just, you're both very captivated by one another. It's very much a surprise element of what is encountered in this very kind of, it's almost like there's an expectation of what is to be achieved or attained there, even if it's something where, you're just going on vacation to get away from the hustle and bustle of city life. You're going to relax, going to unplug, going to unwind, and then all of a sudden you meet somebody, and it very much catches you both by surprise. But then it's back to reality, back to the world that you come from, back to kind of your responsibilities, the grind, and then this sense of kind of like longing for one another from afar, that steps are taken to really to reach out to try and continue this. But definitely a decision then has to be made, kind of like, well, what do we do with this? Where do we go from there? It does feel that there is that kind of second chapter, that second act between you and this person. It is not just limited to that kind of window of time where you had that initial kind of romance or even just a spark with one another. This may not have even developed into anything very substantial, and yet it's made a lasting impression. That idea of kind of that second act can be the romance unfolds maybe even from a distance, something that occurs then online as each of you are kind of in these separate realities, where you're then making sort of plans, or it's almost a struggle to try and decide, how are we going to meet in the middle? How are we going to kind of take this out into the next level, starting from scratch, needing to keep very much an open mind about the circumstance, being very flexible, going with the flow as far as opportunities that present themselves, things that it's you're needing to almost then save up for both of you to kind of cover those travel expenses to see one another, something where it's not so easy to just meet face to face. And so a lot of this this kind of adding to a level of anxiety and longing, but also kind of this level of deep appreciation for the time that you do get to spend with one another. And for this, again, kind of like a very crucial or pivotal kind of decision here. How far are you willing to go with this? Is this worth the investment? Is it worth what will have to be given up by one or both of you in order to really kind of make this work? A lot of soul searching that needs to be done as far as, what do you need to feel most kind of alive and comfortable? What in your world, what in your life, what in kind of the plan that you have set for yourself is negotiable, can be kind of sacrificed or pushed to the side in order to make room for this very unexpected spark of connection with this other individual. It is possible with the child here in the Sun, and then also these two kids in the Six of Cups, that this person may have children. They may be a divorcee, or they could be a widow or a widower also with this Nine of Swords here. So that can be a factor as well of kind of like, they have kids, they have a life established somewhere, and it's just not so easy to kind of like pick up and follow their heart. That can definitely be a consideration for this as well. And this I'm also getting is somebody that could be a friend of the family as well, or somebody that you meet while you are traveling with your family, or you're on kind of a like a family vacation. This can also be somebody that works in, again, some kind of music was coming up, but they work in some form of entertainment, or this is somebody with a very bright personality, somebody with a very optimistic disposition, that a very almost commanding energy. And it's bringing to mind as well somebody that might not necessarily be very tall in stature, but they have a very large personality. They take up a lot of room in whatever kind of circumstance they are in, through their outlook, through their energy, through their disposition. They may resonate as a light worker, or this may even just be kind of an innate quality about them that they're very almost maybe humble about. They don't know kind of that word light worker, or they don't resonate as that. If they consider themselves that, it might be something where they kind of keep that very quietly to themselves. But somebody who has a very positive impact upon others, has a lot of respect from other people, and is very optimistic as well in terms of kind of their general outlook on life, even the difficulties in the situation, kind of that dynamic of distance with you. It's something to where there's struggle and there's obstacle, but it's somebody who is almost trying to find the blessing in even the most difficult circumstances. This may be something where they have faced a lot of obstacles in their life, and that this kind of quality about them has enabled them to be able to transcend these obstacles, to come out almost more empowered and better at the other side of kind of disaster or tragedy. And the word disaster is even bringing up something to do with natural disasters. So maybe a place that you meet them at where there had been a significant natural disaster, where they've had to kind of pick up the pieces of their life. And for all intents and purposes, they've been through a lot. They've been through a lot of struggle and strife. And it's amazing that they can still smile and be so optimistic in the aftermath of all of that. So I'm going to get a few oracle cards to clarify this for you. Okay, we've got Sun and Celebration. So beautiful confirmation there, this double energy of the Sun, a very bright personality. Somebody who might be younger in terms of biological years, a very youthful kind of attitude, sort of a beginner's mind, curiosity, somebody who may themselves be kind of a traveler, a world traveler, well-traveled, somebody who's very inquisitive, likes to learn, likes to experience things, likes to, kind of mingle with people, hear people's stories, learn about things. Journalism is coming in, so this could be somebody who writes, somebody who's like an investigative journalist, for example, or even just in like a local paper. And I'm even hearing DJ, so something about that could be a name, or that could have to do with kind of like a radio station, a local radio station, or even somebody who DJs at weddings, for example, covers the music, and somebody again with this, this very bright energy, this energy of a light worker. It's definitely a very unexpected surprise encountering this person, and a very difficult decision as far as, in the aftermath of when the two of you have to initially part ways, and you both have made a substantial impact upon one another. This idea of you can't get each other out of your minds, and wanting to kind of take steps in order to reconnect with one another, to see how to make this work in some form or fashion. It's very mutually experienced. A lot of bright and kind of sunny energy with this, a lot of happiness that this brings, and something very significant about this person's smile as well. A smile that lights up a room, or like they're smiling with their whole face, they're smiling with their eyes even. This is just somebody who exudes happiness. And the name Joy may also be significant for this as well. And then with celebration, that ties in with this Four of Wands. So definitely somebody you could meet at a wedding, at some kind of a function, a festival, some kind of a celebration, while you're traveling with your family, or you're out on vacation, maybe something where you've just graduated and you're celebrating with a trip somewhere. It can be even a friend's birthday, or your birthday, and you've gone out with people, you've gone to celebrate, you've traveled somewhere distant and remote from where you live. And it's almost like I'm hearing icing on the cake. So you were already kind of enjoying the setting and the scenery and the occasion. And then here comes this person, and it's just, it's almost like this bright noonday sun. It's this whole other level of anticipation, this whole other level of gift to whatever that initial sort of occasion is. And this is something that, despite that kind of obstacle, that sort of difficult decision of how do we make this work, with kind of, it feels like geographic distance, and kind of two people who are very well established, where they both live. They have a lot going for them in those areas that it's not so easy to just kind of pick up and relocate. It's very much kind of moving into a whole different climate, atmosphere, culture, even country, that despite all of that, this is a very positive connection. This is a very happy connection. This is something that the time that you spend together, you're both very grateful for that. Whatever decision is made, if it's something where, the connection just is deemed to be too many kind of obstacles, the sacrifices can't be made, and it's just, it needs to just be that moment in time that you will always remember. It's something where, this person represents a very significant and very endearing part of your romantic history, in the long scheme of your life. For others of you, this will be the situation where mountains are moved, kind of obstacles are crossed, odds are defied, and the two of you really make things work despite all of the kind of factors or sort of outward circumstances that make that very difficult. And it's something that once you triumph, once you both agree and do what you need to do, and there's an element of kind of mutual sacrifice, that the sacrifice is worth it. It is cause for celebration. There's a distinct possibility that the two of you, are very deep soulmates with one another, that you've been drawn together, not just to experience this joy of romance, but that this is almost like that destined partnership that you have each been seeking, that you've been looking for. And as many disappointments as you may have had in love, kind of these near misses or things that sort of fizzled out, when this connection works, when it becomes that long-term person, that forever person, it's something that the struggles and the obstacles, the experience that you have with one another, it really makes you grateful for each other's presence. It really makes you appreciate kind of what you have, the time that you have with one another, and helps you to really appreciate kind of the lengths and layers that each of you is really willing to go to make space for this love to flourish in a long-term sense. So I'm going to get a few of these Zodiac cards to get anything as far as timing is concerned, and this can also tie into kind of elements of this person's chart or your chart as confirmation. Okay, we've got eclipse in Leo, compassion, shine brightly like the star you are. Sun in Virgo, endeavor, you reap what you sow. And Moon in Gemini, indecision, should I stay or should I go? So this is all confirmation of that summertime energy. And then we've got Leo again here for the third time with these two sun cards, and then obviously eclipse in Leo. So this can definitely be somebody that you meet during the summertime months, depending on what hemisphere you are in. If you are in the southern hemisphere, I believe you guys are in summertime right now. So this might be somebody who is kind of on your imminent horizon. They are somewhere on your radar any day now, or in the next few months, they could really come into your reality. If you are in the northern hemisphere, as I am, summer is probably about like 6 months out. June 21st being the official start of summer here in the northern hemisphere. So this could be somebody that's a little ways out on the horizon. But again, it ties in with that idea of like a summer break, a summer vacation. I'm hearing June wedding. So wedding season in general can be really significant. And even that reference to wedding can be that indication that this can be that forever person for you. But then it's also interesting here with this moon in Gemini, this idea of indecision, that idea of should I stay, should I go, where some kind of sacrifice, some kind of compromise is needing to be made in order to really facilitate this, some kind of like a major move to a whole different country, a whole different region, or even just kind of a restructuring of both of your lives in a very significant way in order to kind of make room for this love, this romance to take place. So even in terms of more specifically with months, again, this summertime energy, but with Leo, that is June and July. Virgo is, Leo is July and August, excuse me. And then we've got Virgo, which is August and September, and Gemini, which is May and June. So I'm going to get a few of these attribute cards, and there's a little bit of everything in here. There's physical characteristics, personality traits, zodiac signs. So we'll just see what comes through. Okay, we've got glasses. So they may wear glasses or contact lenses. Sunglasses is also coming through with that summertime energy. And we've got relaxed, so somebody who's very down to earth, very easygoing. They put people at ease in their presence. And they may have a very soothing voice as well. And we have karmic. So this can tie into somebody, again, who had been married previously, had been in some kind of karmic relationship. Maybe you have come out of some kind of karmic relationship and you're just, getting away from it all, getting away from the strain and the stress. And that's how you intersect with this person. The idea of karmic, like karmic relationships, like third-party energies, can also tie to that sense of duty and obligation to kind of an established plan for oneself. Something that you're doing professionally, for example, any kind of like loops or patterns or habits that keep you tied in a certain way rather than kind of, there's lessons and opportunities for growth, but it's sort of limited in capacity. That this connection, the obstacles that are presented are these elements of karma that the two of you then, it feels like, are really challenged and confronting. Are you ready to kind of close out these cycles, to do what is necessary to kind of pave the way, to make room for this love to flourish? And we've got automobile, so this person might be a mechanic. They could be a car salesman. They may be just very handy with machinery, very kind of mechanically minded. This can be something, I'm also hearing limo driver, so that can really tie in with the idea of weddings as well. Somebody who may live, even if they are not in a totally different country, this could be somebody where, they're living on the entirely different side of the same country you live in, but from you, to where in theory you could get there by automobile, but maybe it would take a week to drive to to one another. They could also be somebody who has a very specific kind of car. Maybe they collect cars or restore cars. And we've got romantic, so somebody who, is really big on those romantic gestures, the I love you, the holding hands in public, somebody who's, very into kind of kissing or hugs, or, even romantic gestures like bringing flowers, making you breakfast in bed even. Got the letter Z. Musician, so that was coming through with DJ, and maybe somebody, I'm also hearing orchestra, so this could be somebody who's even a classically trained musician as well. And we've got October, so that can be a time of year that is significant to kind of the development of this connection. Maybe that's summertime love, and then as we get into more of these autumn energies with Virgo, with August and September, and then also October, which would be Libra and Scorpio season, that can be almost this element of the second act between you two. And we've got water signs, so Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And we've got older. So there could be an age difference between you and this person. They might be older, but they almost have a baby face or a very kind of youthful attitude. Older in biological years, but they might be a very kind of young soul, or just kind of have a curious beginner's mind in their outlook toward the world. And we've got piercings. So they could be a piercer, work in a piercing studio, or they've got several or one very specific piercing. And we've got the letter A. Scientist. So that could be something they do professionally: geologist, a botanist, a biologist, a chemist, somebody who, again, there's a lot of thick chemistry and passion between the two of you. And I'm also hearing physicist, so that might be significant. And we've got shy, so somebody who might be a little more sort of shy in your presence. That could be something that strikes them as very out of the ordinary. It fills with all this kind of fiery energy. They could definitely be, kind of an outgoing person, a very kind of bubbly, warm personality. But then in your presence, all of a sudden they clam up and they get really shy. Got hazel eyes. Text. So a lot of texts back and forth, maybe even during that period of time after that initial meeting with one another, and then kind of an online connection is established, or that's necessary due to kind of the distance between the two of you. And we've got animals, so that can tie in with scientist, somebody who works in research, works in conservation, is an animal lover. I'm hearing sanctuary, so they may work at or volunteer or even run some kind of an animal sanctuary, a rescue. And we've got articulate, so somebody who's very well spoken, very intelligent, gives good advice. Physics. Okay, so there we have it. I was hearing physicist, and that's why we've got that confirmation there of physics, and that can even be astrophysics. So things to do with kind of outer space and other worlds. This may even, if they don't do this professionally, this could be just kind of a hobby. Stargazing, for example, might be kind of a romantic activity that the two of you do together, something that is an interest of theirs. And we've also got the letter S. So I'm going to get a few more initials that can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got E, F, L, X, J, K, G, and N. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I've also launched a second channel here on YouTube. It is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video, as well as in the featured channel section of my page. The format over there is a little different from here. I do pick a card readings and general energy readings, and the topics that I cover over there are related to spirituality, ascension, self-love, and wellness. So if any of that sounds interesting or intriguing, I invite you to check that out, and I thank you for your support in helping that channel to grow, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 3. Chose the Rhodochrosite heart. So I'm going to start with tarot to get a general overview of your next big romance, who's coming in, anything as far as timing is concerned with that as well. And then I'll clarify with some oracle cards. actually, just a minute. This candle just burned out, so I want to replace that for you. Just a minute. Okay, thank you for waiting so that I could get a fresh candle going, and everything during a reading can be taken as a sign. So that definitely to me feels like an indication that this person may come in at a point when you have maybe given up on love for the time being. You've just kind of resolved yourself to, maybe you're just destined to be alone, kind of unlucky in love. And this person sparks or renews your hope that there is love out there yet. There's still an opportunity to find the one for you. So you might be older in terms of biological years, or you've just had a lot of kind of unfulfilling connections lately or in general in your life. And this person might be something, that is just that kind of effort to give it one more chance. Somebody that you might not normally consider dating or exploring romance with, kind of an opposites attract situation. But you follow your gut, you follow your instinct, and it turns out to be something that is actually very fulfilling, something that gives you a lot of hope, a lot of illumination as well as to why things didn't work out with other people in the past. This can also be a signifier of kind of a time where you have let a major romance, somebody you were really stuck on, somebody that it was very hard to kind of get over. You have finally let that go, and by doing that, it opens the door for this this other individual to come in, a very high-level soulmate, perhaps for you as well. So we also have the Nine of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, the Hanged Man, Seven of Wands, the Fool, the Eight of Swords, Two of Wands, and Three of Pentacles. So in terms of signs with the Pentacles, we've got Earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Hanged Man is Pisces. Wands is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Swords is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And the Fool is Aries. So definitely the Three of Pentacles with this foundational energy, as well as the Fool, the idea of new beginnings, ties into what I was channeling regarding the candle that blew out and needed to be replaced, in terms of like a new beginning, a new opportunity at love, kind of a last-ditch effort to give somebody a chance, almost like at the midnight hour, this person comes in when you've kind of given up hope. You're feeling at a loss. You're feeling that maybe you're just not really destined to have luck in love in this lifetime, feeling very trapped, very out of control in this situation. Your hands are tied. You've exhausted all avenues to kind of meet the one, to intersect with somebody that you're very compatible with. You've just encountered a lot of disappointment. Then this person comes in like that breath of fresh air, very unexpectedly. It might be a very spontaneous energy, but it feels almost to be kind of secret admirer energy, somebody who's been watching you from afar for quite some time, really planning their move towards you, planning this maneuver towards you. This can be somebody that if you have like a social media presence, for example, this could be somebody who is a subscriber to your channel, a follower of your social media accounts, maybe something that you do online, something you post online as far as content, maybe some kind of art, something that you make, something, music that you produce, for example. This person is aware of you before you're aware of them. They are already an admirer or a follower or a fan, and it's something where It takes them some time to either work up the nerve to reach out. They may hold you in very high regard. They may see you as really standing in your power, standing in your autonomy. They may view you as somewhat inaccessible to them, either because it's difficult to find your contact information, or it's something where just kind of the nature of the circumstance of how they have really kind of found or discovered you, it doesn't necessarily feel appropriate to put themselves out there, or it might be very easy for them to just kind of get lost in the shuffle. So it could be where, you know, they're commenting on things, they're liking things, you know, as far as posts or pictures that you're putting out, content that you're putting out. But it's something where there are maybe many people who are liking or commenting, and kind of that initial sort of phase of them doing this, it's nothing that really kind of stands out. It's nothing that is very it doesn't really indicate this desire for romance. It feels to be almost compliments, encouragement that they give you, but something that from that initial sort of phase, as you are aware of this person, that it's just simply something where, you know, it's somebody who admires your work. They admire what you put out. They have respect for that. They like that. Maybe they find it aesthetically pleasing. And so it takes some time for them to kind of build and maneuver, work their way past kind of boundaries of information, or even to you know, planning their approach almost so that they don't kind of come off very impulsively or very unreliably towards you, but that once they do that, it's very almost surprising, a little bit kind of even maybe shocking what it is that they reveal, you know, how long they've been watching, how much they admire, what they kind of bring forth to you as far as compliments are concerned. You may be initially very defensive towards this person because of the nature of sort of how they are accessing you, how they are approaching you. It might be just very, you know, like they've kind of caught you on the wrong day, or when you have a lot of stress, you have a lot of deadlines, a lot of things that you're working on, to where it might be something where it takes them several passes or several attempts in order to really create that impact, to really sort of convey to you this impression that, oh, they want to, you know, explore this kind of realm of romance. They want to open up to this. You know, this person is flirting with me. They're hitting on me. They're, you know, they're wanting to open these lines of communication in some way. You know, this is beyond just admiration. This is beyond just, you know, making commentary on things. There's actually desire here to kind of establish or to start or to explore like a personal relationship with one another. Based also on kind of what was coming through with that candle, about the idea of, you know, maybe a lot of kind of disappointments in love prior to meeting this person, or a significant kind of disappointment in love that you've been kind of recovering from, trying to move beyond. That can also tie into this element of being very guarded, very almost, I'm hearing off limits. So you might have your heart very much kind of caged up. You're focusing on other things. You're choosing to focus on kind of abundance or profession, for example, love being sort of the farthest thing from your mind, or even something where maybe even a little bit of kind of self-sabotage, sort of getting in your own way. You've picked up a little bit of pessimism. You've needed to kind of go into this fortress or into this shell to kind of heal and recover from what you've been through. And so when this person comes and is like knocking on your door with this sort of fresh opportunity, trying to get you to come back out there, back out into the world, to rejoin, you know, the land of the living, so to speak, that there's a little bit of hesitation to kind of step beyond your comfort zone. In some way, they may be very also, again, different from your usual type or expectation. And so you might be kind of inclined to judge things on appearances first and foremost, on the surface level qualities of this person. It may be just kind of a stage in your life that you are at, or as a result of kind of the experiences in love and romance up to this point in time, where you almost have developed too sturdy of an armor, too thick of a skin as far as that is concerned. And so this person will, again, it feels like they'll have to be very consistent with that, very kind of dedicated and patient with that, to kind of bring you off of that kind of very defensive, almost like off limits sort of energy to get you to change perspective, to get you to kind of open up very gradually. It may be something where they're needing to develop a friendship first and foremost, to build trust very gradually with you. And that kind of, as they're leaning into this element of romance, it almost sets off these defenses within you, and you kind of are trying to redirect the focus back to things of a more platonic nature. And so it takes time with this foundational energy as well, with the Three of Pentacles, to really establish trust in this situation, to really establish a firm kind of foundation with one another of sort of mutual respect, mutual admiration, confidence in this person's almost intention. It feels that this is somebody who's very transparent in terms of their intentions. They may not reveal the full nature immediately of kind of the depth and nature of feelings that they have for you. It's something where it feels like, again, it's kind of this idea of testing the waters with this. They're kind of gradually, but at a progressive pace, sort of moving closer and closer to you, trying to coax you out from behind these walls or behind these defenses that you may have even very unconsciously put up. If you've been longing for love but have been disappointed by the lack of it, or what has come in for so long, you have almost then unconsciously perhaps establish these very kind of firm defenses within yourself. You're wearing some pretty thick armor here. And to kind of drop that guard, to kind of let that guard down and to open up to the possibility of renewal, of a fresh start, of a new kind of experience in love, maybe with somebody that, you know, is outside of the usual type or expectation, or at a time in your life where you're ready to just kind of, and you're struggling to kind of come to terms with, you know, being very comfortable in your own company, you know, that maybe love is just not for you in this lifetime, or that what you've experienced up to this point in time have all just been lessons, and that's the totality of it, that it's going to take some push on this person's part to really back you out of the corner that you've almost talked yourself or kind of moved yourself into very unknowingly. There's almost this sense of divine intervention also being at play, signs and synchronicities that you are getting, that you may not listen to very firmly, and then these things start to become louder and louder. The universe really pushing you, really kind of pointing to this person as, you know, an alternative, a way out from a future that you have kind of worked to come to a place of being very accepting of, a stage in your life that you've moved into surrender, but it's almost not obvious that deliverance from that state of surrender, this receptivity, and then almost like I'm hearing the tide has brought this person in. So the ocean might be significant. This may be somebody who lives by the seashore. They could also be a water sign, which we don't, other than Pisces, which the body of water that represents Pisces is actually the ocean. So that could be a confirmation there of somebody with a significant Pisces placement, somebody you meet during Pisces season, which is February and March. So that's coming up pretty quickly here. But it's almost that the universe has kind of brought you this person, this very high-level soulmate, this person that can help you kind of move beyond, or that it's almost you've tied up certain cycles within yourself, within your romantic kind of history or phase within you. But then it's this realization, with not realizing rather, that the work that you've done on yourself is complete, and that you're ready for this new beginning, that you've ended certain cycles, you've gone through certain things in order for lessons to really be crystallized, and it is now time to move forward toward new horizons, to open yourself up to new experiences. If you've been operating in an energy of kind of guardedness or defensiveness, or really just needing to be self-focused, working on your own healing and ascension, it can be a little bit of an arduous process for this person to get you to take your eye off of that area of focus. And it feels like the universe really kind of interceding as well, to give you a lot of directives, to give you a lot of signs that kind of nudge you or coax you, or in certain aspects almost push you in the direction of this person. forcing you to kind of take your eye off of this, this need to be defensive, a need to be kind of a little bit guarded, a little bit restrained. You've worked to that, come to that process of surrender, and now you have received, this new kind of opportunity, this new blessing in love, a new type of story. It feels that how this plays out with this individual, it's very different than what you have experienced up to this point in time in terms of romance. It's something that has growth potential, long-term potential. There's a lot of stable and reliable energy to this, but it feels that the biggest part of what wants to come through in this reading is almost that indicator of how you will kind of know who this person is. They will need to be a little persistent with you to get you to notice them, to get you to kind of let that guard down. And it's not somebody who's, kind of breaching your boundaries or making you feel very uncomfortable, but it's somebody who, is very dedicated. They consistently show up. Every day they're showing up. Their words are matching, or their actions are matching up with their words. Which is something that could be quite out of the ordinary. It feels like in a very positive manner from what you've been used to dealing with in love and connections in the past, which almost creates this energy of being a little more guarded, wanting to kind of pull back or sort of retreat from this person. If you were dealing with kind of a runner-chaser situation in your past, this almost feels that you become that runner yourself a little bit in this circumstance with this person, at least at first. And you're needing to really check yourself and to recognize yourself. In some way, this experience with this individual, it feels, if you were dealing with a runner-chaser dynamic, somebody you've had to really detach from in order to kind of move on towards your own sort of well-being, and then be able to magnetize this new individual in. Something in this process helps you to kind of gain some perspective and clarity about a layer of what, at least on a certain level, the runner you were dealing with, what they were feeling, what that experience was like, that sense of like energetic pressure or panic or uncertainty that caused them to run from you, as you find yourself then running from this individual during that kind of initial phase of this connection. It's something that, again, it creates closure for you in any uncertainty you might have had about another runner in your life, or a series of runners, a pattern of people running from your love, and you almost realize that you are just as capable of stepping into that kind of role within yourself, which allows you to kind of close out a pattern of uncertainty or any kind of lingering distress you may have been holding on to from those other connections or from that other person that were almost what necessitated this kind of cocoon phase that you've been in. It's almost like that cycle of healing is complete and you're ready for this fresh beginning. This can also be something as well with the Three of Pentacles. You and this individual may come from very similar backgrounds, or you may have a very similar backstory, kind of the idea of parallel paths. You have walked very similar journeys within your life. This can be the sense of kind of on the flip side of opposites attracting. This can be something where it's almost feels like it's too good to be true, like you're looking for the other shoe to drop, like this person fits all your requirements, or they understand you on a certain level or layer, or because of that shared kind of backstory, disappointments, things from childhood that you've been endeavoring to work through. There's a sense of almost fear or hesitation, not knowing how adequately this person has worked through those things, understanding maybe kind of the emotional residue that had caused for you, the hangups and kind of the distortions, and an element of almost skepticism, wanting to kind of vet this person out as well, because you're not wanting to kind of bring someone into your life with a lot of this emotional baggage or all of this unresolved trauma from their kind of upbringing or from their own romantic past. So there's an energy of observation in this, needing to really take some time to warm up to this person, to really evaluate this person, see how in alignment with kind of your goals and your own kind of personal healing and personal stage of sort of evolution and ascension. Are the two of you really matched and compatible on that level? Are the two of you really reaching for those same horizons? Or is this something that would almost There's a fear of kind of falling into old patterns. In some way, this person in a lot of ways may have these elements of them that's almost an amalgam of what you had dealt with in other people in the past. But in some way, they have actively transcended or are actively endeavoring to transcend these things, which sets them apart from people you've dealt with previously. Nevertheless, when you kind of pick up on those elements, there again is something where you're almost needing to, and I'm hearing somebody say, don't catch feelings, like you're trying to keep yourself at a distance from this person, when there's so much inside of you that is almost, it's begging you to kind of come beyond that comfort zone, but you've been so used to kind of boundaries and guardedness that you're trying to almost stifle or suppress that, which feels like very much the educational nature of this connection is this person coaxing you out, coaxing you into that new beginning that is available and waiting for you. The word education can also talk about somebody who is a teacher, who maybe even I'm hearing makes instructional videos. So this could be something that they post on social media. Maybe they just do this as a hobby, or they have done this in the past. They could have some degree of following, some degree of acclaim or fame. The two of you may be sort of similar in that capacity, only you have different kinds of audiences and topics that you are talking about. This Three of Pentacles can also talk about somebody who works in construction, who builds houses, is in real estate, banking, mortgages, somebody who has investment properties or rental properties, somebody who fixes and flips houses, somebody who may be a home owner, or either they outright own their home, or they're working to pay off a mortgage. Somebody who could be very, very handy, a do-it-yourself kind of person, somebody who's very good at kind of fixing things, somebody who's done a lot of work to sort of fix the structural integrity of their own kind of psyche as well. Self-help healing might be kind of elements that are points of similarity between the two of you, or that there's this isn't just somebody who's talking about working on their problems. They've done some actual work on things. They've really transcended some pretty substantial odds perhaps in their life that could be a shared kind of backstory between you and this individual. Distance might also be a factor as well, and this could definitely start off as kind of an online connection. The Fool can tie into somebody who is younger than you, so even a substantial age difference that exists, or on the other side of that, you could be substantially younger than this person. This could be like a 10-year or more age gap between the two of you going in either direction. And I'm also drawn to kind of these sort of naturey imageries here. So the mountains may be something that is a very sort of a significant scenery. This person could like to spend a lot of time outdoors, live somewhere kind of rural. They may be into horticulture, somebody who kind of grows their own food. They may have kind of a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle, somebody who's very health conscious, hiking, camping, fishing, any outdoor activities. All of these things are very relevant to this, and it also feels that, again, this person is outside of the type of person you have normally dealt with in the past. So I'm going to get some oracle cards to get a little more clarification about this for you. Okay, we've got Bear and Gratitude. So the woman here with the butterfly wings or the moth wings, as well as the bear, really bring to mind this idea of hibernation. Somebody who almost comes while you are in a cocoon phase in your life. You've either kind of closed off to the idea of love, or you've been focused in an extreme or diligent manner on kind of healing from some things in your past, healing from disappointments in love, maybe a period of time where you've been celibate, you haven't been dating, you've kind of chosen to focus your attention on yourself, on your well-being, on your ascension. You've been in this hibernation stage as far as love and romance is concerned, maybe even kind of a hermit mode in your life in general. And this person, it feels like they almost, they come and they knock on that cocoon door like it's time to emerge. This person really helps to show you that your transformational period has been very successful, that you have wings and you are ready to take flight. This can be somebody who's kind of grumpy or grouchy, as in not a morning person. That can be something that is sort of significant with this bear card as well. This also ties into a very protective energy, a very nurturing energy as well, a very kind of fierce energy. This person may do something with martial arts or contact sports. Maybe they did this when they were younger and they've sustained some kind of significant injury from that. They may have had a broken nose from that, or it's something that has led to almost this element of kind of discipline or fitness, something to do with kind of like wellness within themselves, that could have been really sort of a modality or a method that they had turned to deal with a lot of kind of internal strife in the home when they were younger. Maybe even, with martial arts, for example, this is something they have found later in life that has helped them to come to a place of almost peace within themselves. It has helped them to really balance something out within themselves. The idea of bear also ties into kind of this organic element here, that this is something that will have to be approached very slowly and cautiously. This person is almost very cautious and aware of your guardedness, of your boundaries. It's needing to move gingerly is what I'm hearing. So they can be somebody who is kind of very methodical, very patient with that, with kind of coaxing you out of your comfort zone. But that idea of ginger can also tie into a redhead, somebody with red hair, kind of fair skin with freckles. This can also really tie into, again, this element of kind of bringing you out of your comfort zone in some manner, that this person is outside of what you're expecting. They come in a way or at a time that you weren't really looking for love. You'd kind of resigned yourself to something else, and all of a sudden here they are. This is a springtime energy as well. So the spring months, and I'm hearing April, so that might be a name, or the month of April might be very significant to when you meet this person as well. And with gratitude, this really ties into kind of this element of your struggles up to this point in time, your disappointments in love. You're filled with a sense of gratitude through what you experience with this person. It leaves you with a sense of feeling very glad you took a chance on this, that you stepped beyond your comfort zone, that you came out of that cocoon, because it's something where, this person wouldn't almost approach you infinitely. Like, they're persistent, but there's a window of time here to where the choice that you make to move in the direction of this connection, it's the right choice. You feel very grateful that you seize the moment, that you seize this opportunity. This idea of gratitude also ties into that element of a little bit of running that you do from this person initially, that helps provide you with some perspective about runners, or a runner that you had been dealing with in your romantic past, that helps you to come to a place of not even necessarily forgiving this person, but it provides you with a lot of answers that person was unwilling or unable to do. It alleviates in some way kind of a burden that you'd been holding within, maybe even something you were very unconscious of. You'd worked to kind of heal and move beyond this, and yet there was just something that was keeping you really tied, really stuck. And it wasn't very clear what that was. And then when you kind of step into that role, you become that runner in a different way in your own life. It helps you to provide you with that clarity, that it's almost what you were holding on to was that sense of uncertainty. You get that answer through firsthand experience, sort of what those motivations are, what those feelings are, what's kind of going through the mind and the physiology of the runner when they are actively kind of engaged in that process. And when you come to your senses, when you come to that realization and you kind of course correct from there with it helps you kind of release that residual kind of bondage that you had to that person or that incident, or feeling very slighted by somebody who had run or ghosted you in the past. So I'm going to get a few of these Zodiac cards to get a little more clarification about time of year, seasons that might be significant to this connection. This can also be something in this person's chart or your chart that can be a confirmation as well. And I'm also getting a channel song for you guys here in group 3, which I will link in the description box of the video. And it is by a group called Future Islands, and it's called Seasons. And it's the line of the song that I'm hearing is, I've been waiting on you. So again, this feels like the person that you have been waiting for. You've been waiting for this person a very long time. They're going to help you to really see and make sense of your experiences in love up to this point in time, why it did not work with other people. And it's something that fills you with a sense of gratitude. And I'm hearing worth the wait. So this again might be somebody that comes at kind of the midnight hour. They come when you're kind of later in years, you're kind of older, or after a series of sort of disappointments, regardless of your biological age, where you're just really you're leaning into a heavily pessimistic energy, and that is almost kind of the shadowy element of this element of kind of acceptance that, you know, if you're destined to kind of move through the rest of this life in this very kind of lone energy, then you're accepting of that, you're willing to do that, but that it's almost, there's kind of a cloud over you, a sense of disappointment that you're almost kind of putting on a smile, but deeply inside there is this disappointment at not having that forever person, not having that partner, not having the one with you. And so this person really helps to kind of renew or respark or kind of bring back to life. They help to light that spark within you. It's almost a replacement for that person or that dream or that kind of vision of how romance would turn out for you. You're discarding that, and this is almost embarking on a very new kind of romance, a new sort of fairy tale, something more grounded in reality, something more kind of appropriately tailored to who you are as an individual, who you have become through your struggles and difficulties. And even that name Taylor can be significant to this connection for you. And we've got Moon in Libra, love, bring peace to your life and to your your relationships will flourish. Moon in Capricorn, accomplishment, scale mountains to gain a sense of achievement. And Sun in Sagittarius, adventure, stride out into new territory. So this is a timeless reading. So whenever you come across these messages and they resonate for you, just take them as you will. But at the time I'm recording this reading, January 11th, 2023, we are in the final about week and a half of Capricorn season. So with Capricorn right here, this can be somebody who is, you're going to meet them any day now kind of an energy. Also looping in with Sagittarius, this can be somebody you have just freshly met. You've recently met them. They've recently started knocking on that cocoon that you are in. You might be in that phase of kind of running, being a little bit skeptical of this person. This can be these confirmations right there of kind of moving beyond your comfort zone in some manner. Or Libra can also tie into, again, this element of kind of autumn and release. They really help you to release and shed a version of yourself, kind of hopes and dreams that you had placed upon a particular person, perhaps returning to your life. They help you move beyond a narrative of who you are in love and partnerships, the types of people that you interact with, that you really are drawing into your reality. This is somebody that helps you to release a lot of kind of pent up, almost resentment, questions or heaviness stemming from other disappointments in love, or kind of releasing yourself, moving beyond a phase of feeling that you need to really work on yourself, fix yourself, needing to kind of cloister yourself away, or taking time out of sort of the dating scene. This person really helps you to release that idea of needing to heal and to step into that fullness and that recognition of being healed, being ready to embark upon the next phase of what the universe has in store for you in terms of love and connection. So Libra can also tie into the months of September and October. With Capricorn, we've got December and January, and Sagittarius is November and December. So I'm going to get a few attributes, and this can be physical characteristics, personality traits. This can be things to do with this person's profession. There's zodiac signs, a little bit of everything in here. And we've got restaurant, so somebody who may be a chef, a server in a restaurant, a general manager of a restaurant. They may own a restaurant. This may be a dream that they are working towards. They may be very good in the kitchen. They may be going to chef school or did at one point in time. That also really ties into the idea with kind of this sort of the nature scenes here in these tarot cards of somebody who has a very kind of organic diet and organic lifestyle, vegan or vegetarianism. And we have local, so somebody who may live in the same town or city as you, the same country at the very least. This can also, it's tying into this element with restaurant, kind of the local fare, the local cuisine, using kind of local ingredients, things that they have grown themselves, to turn that into food and nourishment for themselves or others. And we've got freckles as a physical attribute. February. So this can be a significant month for kind of the genesis of this connection. Again, a timeless reading, but if you're watching it on or around the date when I've recorded and released this reading, then we're about 2.5 weeks before the start of February, maybe like 2.5 weeks, and then we will be in February. So very imminent energy here, that Aquarius energy. So kind of this transition as well between Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius, as well as Pisces. All of those can be sort of a significant sign or a significant kind of time of this buildup, this person continuing to almost knock on your cocoon, knock on your door to get you to come out of hiding, come out of your comfort zone, stretch your wings, and really seize the opportunity of love that is presenting itself to you. And we've got twin flame. So this can go a couple different ways. This can talk about the idea of kind of that runner that you have released, that idea of the candle that has gone out, releasing that idea of union with a twin flame. You've discarded that notion, you've moved beyond that, or meeting this person, the emergence of this person, the universe providing you a very high level soulmate, a very adequate replacement for the unactualized potential between you and that twin flame. As in, when I had to switch out candles and light a new flame here, this can be that kind of that love you were seeking that maybe even in ways is kind of more intense than what you had with your twin flame. It's something that really has growth potential. Two people that are committed to their own growth, that are doing the work. A sense of, you still get to have love in this lifetime, even if that original person that you had the soul contract with, or you had thought was the one, chose not to fulfill their end of the bargain. This is the idea of the universe kind of moving that person out of the way, helping you to energetically release them in the form of this other individual showing up to really reactivate, respark the flame within you, that love is still part of your destiny and is in your future in this lifetime. This can also really tie into the idea of somebody who you thought was your twin flame. You had invested time and energy in that concept, in that belief system. You utilized kind of all the elements of that journey to your advantage. You've worked on yourself, you've healed, you've kind of raised your vibration, you've stepped into your purpose, you've learned to love yourself, and that it has been a preparation stage for meeting this individual who is in fact your true twin flame, and that might be something that really kind of causes you to sort of run, bringing to mind the idea that how attached to a particular label or an individual that you were, and kind of that element of gratitude, helping you then see the bigger picture that maybe the first person you were so attached to was perhaps just a catalyst of some nature that was sparking the fire within you that was a preparation for meeting this individual here. This can also tie into a twin flame journey that has come to a place of completion. You've reached this stage where you are releasing labels, you are releasing those titles, you are releasing those expectations, and then lo and behold, you open yourself up to experiencing a very, healing and healthy and whole relationship with another individual that really fits kind of all the elements of fantasy that often surround the idea of twin flames, these powerful, otherworldly, next level loves that, may have been very elusive in a way that you had been sort of trying to attain that or achieve that with another individual. Along comes this person who is that embodiment of kind of the sensations and the experiences of the very positive and kind of best case scenarios of what that twin flame journey can come to, but that it requires you releasing, again, that expectation or label from a particular individual, or how you have come to understand the nature and purpose of that journey for yourself up to this point in time. And we also have pale, fair complexion as a physical attribute. Tech industry. So there could be aspects of an online connection here. Somebody who may notice you from afar, maybe notice you again on your sort of your platform. They start by reaching out to you online, even via email or text first and foremost, before you kind of make plans to meet up. They may be somebody who is local to you and has sort of reached out from afar, and you're wanting to keep things just online for that kind of initial phase and stage, being a little bit guarded, a little bit cautious. They could work in the tech industry. They may have started a tech company, or they could just be very handy at even kind of building computers, building things to do with like stereos or sound equipment. This can also be a gamer as well. And we have patient. So this can talk about somebody, this is bringing to mind the idea of patient, as in a patient in a hospital, some kind of a health scare, something, maybe even some inpatient treatment that this person had to get at one point in their life for something that they were trying to work through in any kind of way that resonates for you in a particular variety or area of their life, maybe some kind of an accident or injury that they had that really helped to shape and formulate almost this idea of like a wake-up call that they had. And I'm hearing a close call. So something that may have really brought them in touch with their own mortality and caused them to really change their life and pivot the direction of their focus. This can also, though, talk about that idea of the Knight of Pentacles, somebody who will very patiently and continually show up and be very consistent with helping to encourage you beyond your comfort zone, to open up to the idea of love again, or the idea of what is possible in this partnership. Maybe after a period of time where you've just been focused on self, focused on your own healing, kind of withdrawn by your choice, or maybe not by your choice, from romantic experiences with other people. And we have festival. So this can be somebody who invites you out to some kind of festival. A music festival might be very significant as well. There may be a person who puts on shows, puts on festivals. They may be somebody that has some kind of retail, something that they craft, something that they do, a service that they provide, that maybe they go around to different fairs or festivals to present their wares, to present their services, to present their goods. And it's bringing to mind the idea of somebody who almost, they have like some kind of like a massage practice or something to do with like aromatherapy or even acupressure. And they go around and almost give demos or samples to people, little like 5-minute sort of introductory free massages somewhere before kind of giving their business card and kind of scheduling regular clients. So that may be something they do on the side, or something that they do as part of a marketing practice for their business. And we have journalist, so somebody who might be really good with the written word. They may have been a journalism major in college. Maybe they are currently studying journalism, and that brings to mind the idea of almost traveling around as well. And we have younger, so that was coming through with the Fool, an age difference. And it feels with this idea of younger that it might be something that's at least like a decade age difference between you and this person in either direction. Maybe you are younger or they are younger. But this is also somebody with a beginner's mind, a curiosity, somebody who may have really had to rebuild their life from the ground up as well. Somebody who's gotten a fresh start, a new opportunity, a second lease on life. And we've got physics. So somebody who may be very science-minded, that can tie in with the idea of tech industry. Maybe somebody who, kind of builds computers, repairs computers, is very good with kind of technical things. Somebody who might, as a profession or as a hobby or something that they've studied in school, might have to do with physics or astrophysics. And we have relaxed. So they're not going to put a lot of pressure on you, but they're going to be very consistent, very insistent in really trying to coax you out from your comfort zone. This could be somebody who works from home, and so they can kind of just do their work in their jammies, for example. Somebody who may just have a very casual style of dress in general, a very relaxed approach to life. This idea of maybe something they had to recover from or kind of pick the pieces of their life up about. They may have been a very tense, pressured person, a very anxious person at one point in their life. Eight of Swords can also tie into that idea of almost like crippling anxiety or even depression may have been something that they had been struggling with at a certain point, that they've really picked up some coping mechanisms to just kind of relax into the flow of life, not take themselves so seriously. Somebody who's really learning to have fun, somebody who, might travel or go to festivals, spend a lot of time outdoors and in nature as a way to kind of decompress. And we also have ascension. So somebody on the spiritual path, somebody who is this ascended version maybe of a runner that you were dealing with before. It's the idea of twin flame 2.0. And this doesn't feel to be your runner returning. If you have a runner, this feels to be somebody that is almost that replacement. And I'm hearing time's up. So that could be something where if you've been waiting for a prolonged period for someone from your past to get their act together and kind of do the work that is necessary to meet you halfway. There's a sense of something having really expired with that, or the universe having really stepped in to realize that the situation is kind of, it's moving pretty slowly, or it's going nowhere. And so a new opportunity at love is being presented to you in the form of this person that might catch you quite by surprise. It might be something that's very difficult for you to detach from the idea of a particular other person, someone from your past you've been dealing with, or even just a guardedness in general about kind of coming out of this period of, maybe being like a period of celibacy, a period of being very cloistered in hermit mode, perhaps, that in some way it's going to be a process of kind of moving beyond that comfort zone. But in a lot of ways, this connection, this person on many different levels, how the two of you connect, it is this ascended version of what you dealt with in love up to this point in time. It will help you to really make sense and close a lot of doors. Just kind of release even the need to know or the seeking of answers about other circumstances. And they really encourage you to just be very present in the moment, to flow with the opportunities, to enjoy the time each of you has with one another, and to really build and expand and grow beyond kind of whatever your perceptions or experiences of love have been up to this point in time. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got U, N, L, Y, K, D, and Q. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I have also launched a second channel here on YouTube. It's called Lady of the Dawn Tarot, and there's a link for it in the description box of the video, as well as in the featured channels section of my page. The format over there is a little different from here. I do pick a card readings, but also general energy readings, and the topics that I cover will be about spirituality, ascension, wellness, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting or intriguing, I invite you to check that out, and I thank you for your support in helping that channel to grow, as well as your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.